Hi guys, my name is Marcel and welcome. Today's the day you are getting exactly what you're looking for. I'll be giving you a step-by-step roadmap on how you're building yourself your own art style, what you need to look out for, and also how the professionals did it. I'd say my drawing styles also changed after half a decade of consistently publishing manga, and I thought I could maybe make a video on how exactly this whole art style thing works. Don't worry if you're not already good with drawing and you're not even able to draw like that. This works even if your drawing skills like -10. So yeah, no worries, because we're always starting right from the very beginning and ending at, well, I don't think I'm going to tell you where this video ends, actually. You'll see for yourself at the end of the video what this last step actually is. Maybe it will surprise you just how many things can be incorporated into an art style if you really think about it. Also, if you don't mind, could you give this video a thumbs up, please? Making videos usually takes me several weeks because they are fully animated and highly edited, and I make them all by myself. So liking and commenting and subscribing would be a nice way to support me for free. I'm not going to annoy you guys any longer with that though. Let's take a look at step number 1 when it comes to creating your own art style. Drawlikeasir. Let's go. Alright, the first step in this roadmap might sound boring, but it's just objectively the best way to start. Being able to learn how to draw a blank face. I know this sounds boring as hell, but focusing on an art style begins right here. It all starts with the way you're drawing your template. You know, different artists draw different face shapes, and while you're at it, you could learn anatomy as a whole. People sometimes ask what makes more sense, drawing stylized first and then learning how to draw realism, or if it's better the other way around. And believe me, it's definitely the latter. Of course, you need something as a base in order to stylize it. After all, you know the famous quote, you have to learn the rules like a pro to break them like an artist. By Jesus, probably. I don't know. Google says it's by Pablo Picasso, but nobody ever quoted a source on that, so who knows. As you can see, even heavily stylized characters are based off of real-life anatomy. So yeah, even these artists needed to learn how anatomy works first. And this obviously also goes for the face. Having a blank, clean canvas is very helpful when starting out, because you wouldn't want to start practicing your style on a head that looks like it came straight from Chernobyl. Besides, even faces have their own anatomy. Like, understanding how a human face works is pretty important. Doesn't matter if you're drawing anime, cartoon, or whatever. And if you're going with a cartoony, expressive art style like Kohei Horikoshi, for example, that's something you definitely want to keep in mind. So yeah, bottom line, if you're able to draw the basics, you'll have a much easier time developing an art style. If you're looking to get started, I have videos about drawing faces, basic anatomy, facial expressions, and many more things in case you want to get started. So yeah, the basics are important. After all, always remember what Jesus said. Now, once you're able to draw a blank slate that doesn't look like it's been chewed on by a dog, you can actually work on your art style. This means actually figuring out your preferences? Insert LGBTQ joke here. I'll just show you what I mean by preferences. Now, let's say you have your face drawn out, and the way you're going about this is systematically understanding what you like and what you dislike about your art. Let's say you're happy with the way your eyes look, but something about the noses you draw just doesn't click with you. Actually, the nose specifically is a pretty common one. Most people are actually unhappy with their noses. That's also why all of these beauty Instagram and TikTok filters are always making your nose less visible. So yeah, noses are a good example. Let's say you would want to change the nose in the art style you're drawing in. What you're basically doing is figuring out what you like. Look at other people's art. Some artists basically almost ignore the nose, whilst others don't shy away from drawing them. And then there are artists that are drawing noses, but they are still stylizing it so that they look a bit cuter. And now, being aware what your preferences actually are is already priceless, because you're now slowly figuring out what you like, step by step. And the next step would be comparing this style to your current drawings and correcting it in a way so that it now suits your liking more. And if you're struggling with that, which is normal by the way, I would suggest you search out a pool of artists that all share this similar trait, in this case a stubby nose, and try to study the way they tackled this issue. This way you're not copying or stealing off of one single style, but rather you're getting inspiration by a lot of different artists. But you are still stealing art by other people. I know. There are somehow still people who think that art styles happen without any influences at all. Now, if you don't believe me, even a style that's so incredibly unique, like the iconic JoJo's art style that has nothing similar to it, started out like this. Like a very basic, generic Fist of the North Star lookalike. Only with time did Araki start to evolve into his very own individual art style. And that's okay. If even the guy who got to hang his art into the damn Louvre was allowed to be inspired by someone else, then so can you. So there you have it. Find out what your preferences are and search out for people who have the same preferences. I can 100% assure you that all of your favorite artists and also all of my favorite artists that I like had their influences somewhere. And now that you actually changed what you don't like, it's time to practice with these new assets. And yes, practicing is still part of the process of developing an art style. You're not gonna be able to apply these new changes overnight, you need some muscle memory. That's how it was with me as well. What you're seeing right here is the progress that I've made over round about a year, maybe a bit more. And you always think that nothing's changed, but when you're actually comparing it side by side, yeah, maybe now you agree with me that just practicing the same phase over and over and over again can also be a way of developing your art style. And yes, with more time, this is even more apparent. A question I get a lot is, why is my character always different looking and how can I fix that? And the answer is, by having a halfway consistent art style. It's not the character that changes every time, after all it's the same hairstyle and the same eyes, etc. The problem's actually your lack of a consistent art style and routine that makes your character look different every time. And through practicing, you're also developing habits. That's also something I noticed, for example, how I developed the habit of drawing less individual hair. These are habits that only come through a lot of practicing, and I think this definitely shows. And it's also these kinds of habits that make up a unique art style. So yeah, an art style really is something you partially develop by practicing it. As for another example, there's a habit that came through a limitation for me, and that was my coloring with commissions. When I'm at a convention, I don't have much time to color every drawing I make there, so I only start filling in the shaded parts because there was no time to color it any other way. And yet, somehow, I really liked this style, so I colored more and more commissions like that, and then this coloring style somehow became my trademark at conventions. So this one basically developed from a limitation, and yet somehow became my trademark with my commissions at conventions. And that's the keyword. Trademark. These habits basically become your trademarks over time, by which you can recognize the individual artists and their style. One that immediately comes to my mind is how Kohei Horikoshi, artist of My Hero Academia, always draws his mouth very 3D. You can basically always recognize how he draws 2 whole rows of teeth. At least that's something that I noticed a lot. Mouths are something that he didn't draw as extreme at the beginning of his previous manga, Barrage, so you can bet that this is something that just developed over time. That's right, by practicing. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the endless cycle of changing the little things about your art, and then practicing and trying to incorporate it into your style. And then again, finding new things you would want to change, and so on. This cycle never stops, or at least it shouldn't. Always try to improve stuff, never stand still, because you know how the saying goes, a rolling stone gathers no moss. Maybe that one's also by Jesus, I don't know, man. And now, for the last part of this roadmap, I've already teased this earlier, but an art style isn't just about drawing a face. An art style can have many different recognizable traits. For example, the use of color. Real fans might have already recognized that these artworks were drawn by Araki, because he always uses these weird color palettes. You would almost call them bizarre. I'd say his use of color is basically one of his most well-known trademarks. It's so prolific. Even with an animated series, they tried to adapt his weird color palettes because it was so recognizable. What I'm trying to say is, when browsing through social media and you recognize an artist, maybe ask yourself why you recognize this artist in the first place. And while you're at it, you could also list off your favorite artists down in the comments. Maybe other people get inspired this way as well. Artgerm, for example, is an artist that I immediately recognize when browsing through my feed. And yeah, sure, of course, the way he draws faces is something you could recognize him by. But even if you were to just show me a couple of blurry artworks of his where the face isn't even visible, I would still be able to recognize his art because of the unique way he colors it. This artwork is also by the same artist, but you had to look twice, right? Because all of the usual trademarks were absent, it wasn't as recognizable. At first glance, you wouldn't recognize it's by the same artist, right? So yeah, just wanted to prove my point on how an art style is way more than just the way you draw faces. And maybe all of this sounds a bit too much at first, but bottom line is just keep your eyes open and observe while you scroll through your timeline. I, for example, always liked the artworks with thick outlines, so I started drawing thick outlines myself. And now you immediately recognize my black and white drawings I do at conventions because they all have thicker outlines. They just have this certain style. When someone flips through their autograph book, they see my drawing there and they're like, yeah, that's by Marcel, I recognize that. So bottom line, just keep your eye out when following your favorite artist on social media. Anyways, that's the whole roadmap I prepared for you guys. This is a very basic way on how to develop your very own art style. I actually plan on uploading a lot more videos like that, so you might want to subscribe if you want to see more animated videos like these. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get notified when I upload my next video. Also, if you liked this video, maybe you would want to check out my video about character design I did. It's pretty similar to this video, so you might like it. Also, if you want to go the extra step, you can support me on Patreon as well, but don't feel forced to. Just liking and commenting is all the support I need. Just watching my videos is something I appreciate. Anyways, my name is Marcel and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.